This is CBS News Chicago.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dana Kozlov.
And I'm Audrina Sinclair. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Glad you're here with us.
We start with some breaking news this morning. We are working to figure out right now if Chicago police used their weapons in a shooting this morning in the Pullman neighborhood.
Marissa Perlman joining us live there now in the neighborhood where it happened, right at 100th Street, just off the Bishop Ford. Marissa, what can you tell us? What's the latest?
Yeah, a lot of information still yet to gather here. Good to be with both of you. The Bureau of Detectives van still pulled up here right at the scene. The investigation is centered around an apartment building here inside the complex in this Pullman neighborhood. Several buildings now roped off with police tape. Let's go to video now, which shows you the dozens of police officers who arrived here into the complex. This all happened just after about 7 this morning. Moments ago, we saw an ambulance rush out of the complex. A source with the Chicago Fire Department tells us one man was shot multiple times and taken to the hospital in serious to critical condition. Now, we've just spoken seconds ago, really, with Chicago police here who tell us this may have been a domestic-related incident. Now, we're working to find out who fired those shots and if police used their weapons at any point. Again, we know one man was hurt, shot several times in this incident here in the Pullman neighborhood. We also know that no officers were hurt in this domestic-related incident. We're going to be here gathering information as it comes in. We'll bring you the latest here as soon as we get more. For now, we're live in the Pullman neighborhood. I'm Marissa Perlman, CBS News Chicago. Back to you.
All right, thanks for those updates, Marissa. We appreciate it. Turning now to your first alert forecast. We had the storms yesterday, snow today, and this first day of spring feeling more like winter as we take a live look right now outside with our mobile weather lab. I can't really tell from that video, but we've had snow falling throughout the morning. We're turning now to meteorologist Laura Bannon in our First Alert Weather Center. Is the snow gone? Or?
Yep,
Okay.
We are done. A couple little flurries here or there, but again, no additional accumulation expected. We're going to be watching all these clouds clear out. And as you look around all of our cameras here, look at this Midway camera here. Still kind of iced up from the snow that we had earlier. You can see that just one little hole right there to see that fresh snow on the ground. Head out toward DeKalb thanks to NIU meteorology, and the sun is shining bright. Eventually, that'll be the picture for everyone. Clearing skies right now, all the snow moving on out of here. Temperatures, we're holding on the colder swing of things here, but as we get some more sunshine out there, these temperatures will warm up into the 30s and 40s. Not going to be a nice warm day, a little chilly. 42 degrees by the end of the day with sunny skies, clear skies going into tonight. It'll be on the colder side for tomorrow morning, but things will be nice and mild again for tomorrow. Our pattern with these up and down temperatures will continue. I'll show you what this means for the weekend coming up here in just a little bit.
All right, we'll see you soon for those details. Thanks, Laura. Well, severe storms last night left this elementary school in Gary, Indiana without part of its roof. Look at the damage here. Classrooms were damaged too.
Now it means students are starting spring break 2 days early. Darius Johnson's been at that school all morning long. Darius, what else have officials said?
Hey there, Dana. Good morning. Dana and Audrina, rather. Good morning to both of you ladies. You know, one thing that officials have told me this morning, it is going to take some time for them to be able to assess the damage. There are mainly a few things that need to happen. One, they're going to figure out if they can section off portions of this elementary school to see if they're still able to have classes. The second would be figuring out if they need to switch to remote or e-learning. The third would be trying to figure out if they need to go to another school to conduct their learning. Take a look behind me. You can see this is McCullough Academy. However, on this side of the school, you can't really see any damage. All of the significant damage is on the back side of the school. And before we get to that, there are still crews who are out here this morning blocking off the school to prevent people from getting into this area because there is so much damage left behind, whether there are power poles, power lines, or even trees that have been left and scattered around this area. Now take a look at this video. This is the initial response at McCullough Academy. It's so dark, fire crews were using flashlights to sift through the debris and see the extent of the damage. From the outside, you can see the roof is partially ripped off and there are pieces of aluminum hanging off the side of the building. This storm left significant damage to the gymnasium and classrooms. which is why the school says classes are canceled through the end of the week, and also next week, that's spring break. So these students won't be returning for at least another week and a half. They need time to assess the damage. More than 500 students go to this school, and the superintendent says if this storm had come through 2 hours earlier, students would have still been inside. But luckily, no one was injured, although several staff members were inside. Here's what the fire chief had to say about the damage left behind here in Gary.
It's a blessing that we haven't had any severe injuries or casualties as of now, and so we are just still assessing the damage, as the mayor said. We're going to get with the Department of Homeland Security to assess what the storm damage will be for the entire city of Gary, because we have power lines down, trees down.
Again, no classes today, no classes tomorrow. There were some students who we saw get dropped off here at school because they didn't know, and nor did their parents know, that classes were canceled today due to the significant damage here at McCullough Academy. Once again, you see those crews here. What's next throughout the day, the National Weather Service will need to come out and survey and assess the damage to see exactly if there was a tornado that came through here. Again, I told you the principal has been here since 6 o'clock this morning. She's inside surveying the damage. She even broke down in tears when she talked about standing inside the gymnasium and looking up to the sky to see light coming through the school. We're live here in Gary, Indiana. I'm Darius Johnson, CBS News Chicago.
All right, Darius, thank you so much. And not too far away from there, just about 8 miles or so in Highland, Indiana, one family was home when this happened. Look at the huge tree that came crashing down on their house here. And from the different angles, you can see how the tree actually uprooted during the storm, cracked their sidewalk, cracked their driveway. The Courtwright family has lived in the home for 40 years, and thankfully they're okay. They're all doing okay. Another family nearby says they were trying to move their car, and then the storm picked up quick.
She was parked in my driveway, and as soon as the winds picked up, she said, no, I gotta move my car.
And all of a sudden I feel my car lifting up in the air, and I'm screaming to my husband. I have him on the phone. I said, it's taking me, it's taking me.
My goodness. Both families say they plan to work with their insurance providers today, hopefully get some help and relief there. And now we turn to your nonstop news, where Chicago police officers helped 7 people get safely out of a burning building in Old Irving Park overnight.
That's right. They were on patrol when they saw smoke coming from the roof near Patterson and Cicero around 1:15 this morning. They then started to alert residents. Firefighters spent the overnight hours knocking down hot spots. Fortunately, no one was injured. And former Illinois House Speaker Mike Madigan will be sentenced June 13th for his conviction on 10 federal corruption counts. Madigan was found guilty last month on counts of bribery, conspiracy, bribery, and wire fraud. Jurors acquitted him on 7 other counts and couldn't reach a verdict on 6. Prosecutors say Madigan used his power in Springfield to enrich himself and his political allies.
As we keep an eye on your world this morning, Israel launched more strikes overnight at Gaza, killing at least 85 Palestinians.
Israeli officials say the strikes were intended for militant targets. But hours after the strikes, Hamas fired 3 rockets into Israel, the first attack they've done since Israel ended the ceasefire Tuesday. At the same time, the Israeli military is retaking control over a key corridor that cuts off northern Gaza from the south. Israel is also ordering Palestinians to leave combat zones. And here in the U.S., protesters are calling for an end to the war. Yesterday, dozens of pro-Palestinian demonstrators protested outside of a Trump building. They're calling for justice after more than 400 people were killed in airstrikes Tuesday. Meanwhile, Israel's military says it intercepted a missile early this morning, targeting the country's main international airport in Tel Aviv.
And the Houthi rebels group that runs most of Yemen has claimed responsibility for this. And as you can imagine, this prompted panic inside the airport. Video showing people taking cover for their safety. Now, the Houthis say that they targeted the airport in support of the Palestinian people and in light of Israel's decision to end their ceasefire with Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Well, the Houthis' launch came after the latest U.S. strikes targeting Yemen late last night. President Donald Trump has called for the group to be, quote, completely annihilated.
Protesters gathered yesterday at New York's Federal Plaza to demand the release of activist Mahmoud Khalil. He's been held by federal agents since March 8th. His case is now being moved to New Jersey. That's after a federal ruling yesterday. The judge also ruled that Khalil can challenge the legality of his detention. Khalil's being held at an immigration detention center in Louisiana. The judge says the case should be heard in New Jersey because that's where he was when his lawyers sued the government. Federal officials accused Khalil of being a terrorist sympathizer and supporting Hamas. He has denied those claims.
Still to come on the news at 9, Governor J.B. Pritzker continuing his statewide tour advocating for Illinois,
where he's stopping today as he addresses changes by the Trump administration. And President Trump fulfilling his campaign promise today to dismantle the Department of Education, the executive order, and what it means for the agency's future.
And the snow is over. Now the sun's coming out here across Chicago. Going to end up on the colder side of things, but we do have a warm up as we finish out the week.
Today, Governor J.B. Pritzker will be in Romeoville, and he'll be joined by Congresswoman Lauren Underwood to talk about what they call are attacks by the Trump administration on Social Security. Now, this is the second stop on his Stand Up for Illinois tour. Yesterday, he was in Urbana, making the case that ongoing cuts to agricultural research will make communities poorer and also hungrier.
We have, farmers who need the business and who are up-and-comers, selling and helping our pantries, all across food pantries across the state, all of it wiped out. And they're not stopping there. As you know, Trump and Musk and the Republicans in Congress are taking a chainsaw to health care and to child care and to veterans services.
Tomorrow, the governor will head to Rockford to talk about public transit and infrastructure. After that, he'll be in Peoria talking about Medicaid. Well, Jackie Robinson's baseball legacy was caught up in a massive information purge this week by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
It's part of an automated effort to remove diversity content from all of the Pentagon's platforms, and we're talking about tens of thousands of articles. A Department of Defense webpage describing baseball and civil rights icon Jackie Robinson's military service was restored yesterday after it was missing earlier in the day. Robinson, of course, broke Major League Baseball's color barrier with the Brooklyn Dodgers. He'd served with the U.S. military during World War II. In a statement, the Pentagon says in rare cases when content is removed that is outside of the scope of the directive, the content is put back to recognize our heroes for their dedicated service alongside their fellow Americans. Now, Jackie Robinson's son was surprised by the Pentagon's decision to take down the sports heroes in the military history webpage. He talked about his dad's legacy and says, quote, he worked tirelessly on behalf of equal opportunities in education, business, civic engagement, and within the justice system. A recipient of both the Presidential Medal of Freedom and the Congressional Gold Medal, he is, of course, an American hero. And this afternoon, President Donald Trump is expected to sign his long-awaited executive order to dismantle the Department of Education, which was a key campaign promise.
Meanwhile, the Trump administration could be closer to a partial ceasefire deal between Russia and Ukraine. CBS News' Natalie Brand has more from Washington.
Today, President Trump is expected to make good on another campaign promise.
We will ultimately eliminate the Federal Department of Education. We'll send it back to the states.
The White House says he will sign an executive order to begin dismantling the Department of Education, though total elimination would require congressional approval. A senior official also tells CBS News the order does not change federal student loans or Title I, which provides financial assistance to children from low-income families. Also, a federal judge, after extending a previous deadline, is still demanding answers by today from the Trump administration on why his orders to halt 2 deportation flights to El Salvador carrying alleged gang members over the weekend were ignored. Court filings show the administration may use the state secrets privilege to try and block the judge from seeing some information about the removals. Meanwhile, the White House says President Trump proposed that the U.S. take control of Ukraine's power plants to ensure their security during his 1-hour phone call with the country's leader Volodymyr Zelensky yesterday. The president described their first call since their Oval Office clash as very good. Zelensky also said he's on board with a partial ceasefire on energy and infrastructure, something also discussed with Russian President Vladimir Putin during President Trump's Tuesday call. White House officials say negotiations could begin as early as this weekend weekend in Saudi Arabia. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Now back to that president's order to dismantle the Department of Ed. You may remember concerns about this came up during congressional confirmation hearings for Education Secretary Linda McMahon. Senators pressed her on if she would allow a complete elimination of the department, and here's what she said.
Do you agree, and let me just once again get your feelings on this, that if there is a movement to abolish the Department of Education, it has to go through the United States Congress?
Yes, it is set up by the United States Congress, and we work with Congress. It clearly cannot be shut down without it.
The Department of Education was created under President Jimmy Carter in 1979. Again, total elimination of the agency would need congressional approval by law, as its functions and duties are under federal law.
Well, turning back now to our first alert forecast, the snow's cleared out, but we saw plenty of it the last several hours. Our crews were out getting video across the northwest side overnight, and you could see the flakes accumulating on the ground there. At some point, the snow is falling pretty fast, creating slick roads and sidewalks for everyone who is walking, trying to get around. Before the snow was the storms. This is video from New Lenox where you can see the ominous clouds as multiple areas around us were under tornado warnings. So what a last 24 hours we've had. You know, it's like, okay, storms are gone. Okay, now snow. Get ready for it.
Well, and I texted you yesterday about something and said, oh my gosh, it just got so dark.
Like, it almost had like an orange tint.
I didn't get that. You guys up on the north side, it was like pitch black.
Yeah, it was so crazy.
I literally said, I was like, did you get that ominous like orange hue?
It was almost like a solar, you know how like the solar eclipse, like everything kind of dimmed, like I was like, whoa.
It was so weird.
It was really, it was nuts.
Yeah, so National Weather Service is out today. They're going to do some survey damage, so likely we'll come out with a couple of tornadoes just from the damage that we have seen, some of those pictures there. So keep it here. We'll bring you updates as we gather that information, but at least we are now done with the wild weather, at least for a few days here. Looking live outside where you've got that fresh coating on the ground, clouds here in Chicago, but there's parts of the area that's already breaking out into some sunshine. And as I look out our window over here in Daly Plaza, starting to see a bit of a brighter sky out there. So things are looking up. We're going to see temperatures in the 40s. Tomorrow we head into the 50s. That'll bring in quite a bit of wind throughout your Friday. And then our next rain chance is on Sunday. We'll stay in liquid form at least on Sunday. May get a little dicey going into Monday. Radar and satellite. There's the snow that came through in the overnight hours throughout the morning. That is now long gone. Couple of flurries may go down to the lake into northwest Indiana, so we at least keep that small potential there. But as far as accumulating snowfall, we are done with that. Temperatures low 30s at freezing. It's 32 Valparaiso, 30 in the Loop, and we have 30 DeKalb, Aurora. Winds have backed off. It's still fairly blustery with those winds coming in from the north, northwest, 30, almost 35 miles per hour. So that really pushes that wind chill and that real feel down lower here this morning. More sunshine, those clouds clearing nicely. So by 5 o'clock today, we rebound to the lowermost 40s, a chill in the air. The winds will continue to relax through the rest of the day going into tonight, but we'll be watching for a wind shift here as warmer winds pick up tomorrow after a freezing start. We'll go back into the 50s for highs tomorrow with those clouds increasing. Late at night, a couple of fronts going to be diving through, may squeeze out a brief shower from Friday into Saturday, but we're mostly looking at calm, uneventful weather for the start of the weekend. 41 degrees for your high today, breezy conditions. Tonight, cold, 30 degrees. We turn around and go to a high of 57 tomorrow. Windy and milder with that small rain chance, especially late day. So that's at 20% there. This is mostly going to be after dark. Colder weather on Saturday, low 40s for a high 50 on Sunday with light rain developing. Morning rain and snow again for Monday there. So we'll keep a close eye on the thermometer. We go down to 34 for a low on Monday, up to 45, recovering back to the 40s and 50s through the middle part of next week.
Laura, thank you. And we have a traffic alert for you right now, and it's really affecting drivers on the southwest side. A freight train is stopped in Evergreen Park, and it's blocking multiple intersections in the area. Those intersections are 91st and Trumbull, 94th and Kedzie, and 95th and Troy. And there is no word yet when the freight train will be moving again. We will definitely update you, though, when that happens. And here's a look at your travel times across the board on the rest of the roadways. And you can see still lots of slowdowns, although some improvement there, a little more green, if you will, than even a half hour ago. But the inbound Kennedy still at 72 minutes.
Like you said, Dana, much better than what we saw earlier. Look at what the conditions caused overnight. Very slick conditions. This is a car right along I-55 near LaGrange Road that spun out. You can see all the damage. It hit the median, then stopped in the northbound lane of traffic there.
As we mark the first official day of spring, yep, it's here, with the season comes allergies.
Impacting millions of people, and research shows global warming is making it worse. How you can get some relief. We have that story next.
Dana and Audrina, we've made it to our final stop of our tour of Oak Brook Center this morning, giving you some great ideas of how to spend spring break if you are staying in town. Now we're at Putt Shack, which is a tech-infused indoor miniature golf place, which is so much fun. I love mini golf. So, oh yeah, when they say tech-infused, it is tech-infused. Okay, it's talking to me right now. I'm going to try to get it over this ring of fire. I've been told to try to get it into that green hole right here. So 1, 2, 3, it's going to have to be a nice, oh, come on. Oh no, it almost made it over to the second ramp, but this is going to be a really hard second shot. That was not a good putt for me. Anyway, coming up in about 20 minutes, we're going to be playing a little bit more mini golf, and then we're also going to be showing you some of the amazing food and drinks that they have here as well. We'll see you right after the break.
On the Health Watch today, believe it or not, it's the first day of spring.
But in many parts of the country, people with seasonal allergies have already been suffering for weeks. Karen Hua has more from Houston on how to get some relief.
In the Houston area, spring is budding, and Wendy Wales is suffering.
Allergies kind of hit like about this time every year, because there's a lot of stuff blooming. I've got like a cold cough right now from it, and it just lingers.
Her daughter Twyla also has seasonal allergies.
My symptoms are kind of like congestion, coughing, like headaches.
A report from Climate Central finds warming trends in 172 cities around the country are giving plants more time to grow and release pollen. And for the 80 million Americans who suffer from seasonal allergies, that means longer allergy seasons.
Year after year, we are seeing higher and higher pollen levels.
Allergists say leave the pollen at the door. When you get home, change your outfit because pollen and other allergens like to stick to your clothes and shoes.
You take your shoes off, you wash your face, you wash your eyes. Keeping your doors and windows closed to keep that pollen out and not let it in can make a huge difference. HEPA filters can catch whatever little pollen comes in those instances.
Anything you do to prepare for allergy season, or?
Take your meds.
Allergist immunologist Dr. Pratyusha Savjani says it's best to start your allergy medications before the season begins. Other treatments are also available.
I'm sure people have heard of allergy shots. You have to get shots regularly in an allergist's office. They teach your immune system how to not be allergic to that substance.
If you're struggling, she recommends seeing an allergist so you can develop a treatment plan and get some much needed relief. Karen Hua, CBS News, Houston.
Well, next at 9:30, it's a high-stakes day at the Chicago Board of Education.
The vote later that could determine the course of negotiations between the district and the Chicago Teachers Union.
And a live look at O'Hare Airport as we head into the spring break travel period. Which days are expected to be the busiest?
This is CBS News Chicago.
Good morning and good to be with you. I'm Audrina Sinclair.
And I'm Dana Kozlov. It is 9:30. Thank you so much for staying with us. We begin with some breaking news. Now, this is a live look at a shooting scene in the Pullman neighborhood. This is in a neighborhood right off the Bishop Ford on 100th Street. Police haven't given us many details yet, but in the last hour, we did confirm this started as a domestic situation. A source with the Chicago Fire Department says one man was shot several times after 7 o'clock this morning and taken to the hospital in serious to critical condition. We are working to find out who fired those shots and if police might have used their weapons at any point. Now to our first alert forecast, the first day of spring, believe it or not, bringing snow, believe it or not. Just look at this video from the Barrington Metro Station. Hard to believe just 12 hours ago we were in severe thunderstorm coverage, but this is making for a definitely slick commute today.
It's getting better quick though.
Oh yeah, no, we're good. We're good now. Yeah, the sun's out. This is our live camera over Midway, and you can see the results from the snow that we had earlier. The camera camera's a little frozen up, but hey, it looks better from when I showed you this last 30 minutes ago. 32 degrees. We're still at freezing, and it's really windy out there. Winds from the northwest 16, some gusts as high as 25 miles per hour. That's better from earlier this morning. The result, though, is it makes it feel like it's 21 degrees. I'm feeling pretty chilly out there. We're mostly done with all that snow. There may be a couple of flurries left over, especially lakeside, swinging into northwest Indiana. Temperatures holding in the low 30s now as those clouds clear across the entire area. So full sunshine here this afternoon. Temperatures going from the 30s into the lowermost 40s. Winds relaxing, wind chill value mostly going to be hovering right around freezing for the afternoon. We've got a breezy warm up ahead for tomorrow. We'll take a look at that in your weekend forecast coming up here shortly.
All right, Laura, thanks so much.
Students at McCullough Academy in Gary will start spring break 2 days early after severe storms last night tore the roof off of the building. It happened yesterday afternoon after kids fortunately had gone home for the day. Several janitorial staff members were inside, though, but they were not hurt. School officials say they are now looking at their next steps, including if students will stay in the building after spring break.
We have a week to prepare, and that next week is spring break. So we'll be able to assess the damage, determine if the young people will be able to return to this building with the damaged area being cordoned off, or if they will be relocated to a different building to ensure that teaching and learning ensues as soon as the conclusion of spring break.
The district says parent-teacher conferences planned for Friday will take place at the Gary Area Career Center.
Other parts of our area were damaged during last night's powerful storms as well. You can see the roof ripped off of a factory building in South Suburban Stager. This happened near Chicago Road and 35th Street. Now, part of the roof blew onto nearby train tracks, and then at a gas station nearby, some of the damage was littered all over from those strong winds. 9:34 on our Thursday morning, taking a live look right now over O'Hare Airport. No major issues there today, about 12 cancellations and 170 delays right now. But with spring break starting, the Chicago Department of Aviation getting ready for a busy next few days. 3 million people expected to travel through our two airports, and officials say Friday will be O'Hare's busiest day with about 279,000 people traveling through terminals. The busiest day for Midway Airport expected to be Saturday with more than 56,000 people going through that airport. Now, the increased travel period expected to last through Monday, March 31st.
As the Chicago Board of Education prepares to vote on a new budget amendment today, Mayor Brandon Johnson got some of the key players together yesterday to try and hammer out a new CPS contract. All sides say they are close to a deal.
Those issues are just so narrow in terms of their ability to settle. That's why I've called on both sides to stay at the table to get this deal done.
The main unresolved issues: how often teachers should be evaluated, how instructional days are organized for elementary teachers, and raises for veteran teachers.
The mayor says that $9 million in 10 minutes shouldn't be an issue. He's ready to land it. So Pedro's the only person that isn't ready to land it, and he was emphatic in telling his staff that the mayor is not his boss.
This was not a negotiation setting. First of all, you have the power dynamics are just unfair.
The two sides will meet again for more negotiations today.
Well, new this morning, two conservative groups have launched a civil rights complaint saying Title IX protections in Illinois should not include gender identity. According to Chalkbeat, the complaint specifically names the Illinois State Board of Education and Chicago Public Schools. At this point, both have declined to comment. Now, the Defense Freedom Institute for Policy Studies and the Liberty Justice Center called gender identity, quote, self-declared. Title IX federal statute specifically protects students against sex-based discrimination. And also new this morning, a man who fought to win his freedom after being wrongfully imprisoned for 23 years goes back to court to secure his certificate of innocence. We brought you this story and the decision in October that brought Kevin Jackson his freedom. Jackson has always insisted he had nothing to do with the May 2001 early morning murder at a gas station on the corner of Damon Avenue and Garfield Boulevard on the cusp of the Back of the Yards and West Inglewood communities. At that time, Jackson was 19 years old.
Later today, Mayor Johnson will host Chicago's Muslim community for a traditional iftar. The mayor and alders will break fast with residents at the Muslim Community Center of Chicago. Now, this is a look at last year's gathering. It's a tradition extending back over several mayoral administrations. During the last 10 days of Ramadan, the MCC offers 1,000 free daily iftar dinners. All right, hot dog lovers, time's running out to get your nomination in for Chicago's top dog.
Yes, we want to know which Chicago area restaurant you really think serves the best hot dog in our area, hands down. You can make your entry at cbschicago.com. When you go on your website, just search Top Dog.
And you have until tomorrow to make your nomination for the March Madness style tournament. And then next week, we'll announce which restaurant secured a spot on our Sport Pepper 16 bracket.
Speaking of food, we told you yesterday about the White Sox unveiling all the game day treats for this coming year and season.
Next, we'll show you everything you can eat at that ballpark this season.
Oh, that fried chicken sandwich
I'm
looks
so
good.
hungry.
And we're back at Oak Brook Shopping Center, a fun option for a spring break, a little staycation. Lots of activities going on there, Laura.
Certainly. We have at least the snow done for now. There's another opportunity on the horizon to see a rain-snow mix. I'll show you when in your first alert forecast after the break.
Well, welcome back this morning. In our jump start, we're at Oak Brook Shopping Center, which has some really fun things going on as Chicago Public Schools gets on spring break.
From interactive experiences to mini golf, there's plenty for the family to do. Jackie Kosick joins us live now with some of those ideas. Hey, Jackie.
Dana and Audrina, even if you don't have kids, I think Oak Brook Center is a great place to just have some fun. They've got a lot of these immersive kind of experiences. Now we have moved on to Putt Shack. This is the last stop on our tour of Oak Brook Center this morning. And I would say it's last but not least because it is really fun, especially if you love golf like I do. This is Lauren Bradley, who's the Director of Operations for Putt Shack. Lauren, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay, so we're actually going to scooch over to our hole. This is hole number 9. You've got 4 9-hole courses in Putt Shack. You say it's tech infused. So how is it tech infused and how is it different, I guess, from a different miniature golf course?
So our golf balls are actually like a miniature computer. It's going to take the score for you, which is for better or for worse.
Right.
There's no cheating here.
No cheating. Oh, that's too bad because I always like when my mom or somebody steps behind the hole and kind of goes like this so that I've got a little bit more of a buffer to work with. Okay, so I'm going to put the ball right on the center black dot. So that's where it starts. And then I'm just going to give it a nice hard kind of shot here. Let's see. Oh, I still dubbed it. Oh, come on, it was so close. It was so close. Plus 50 points. All right, Lauren, you're going to come up and try your hand at it real quick. A little disappointing on mine, I thought, and I had a nice straight angle, too. What makes this place so much fun, though?
That we're really for everybody, and the best part about here, especially in the Chicago area, is that we're completely away from all the weather.
Same score, exactly. Temperature controlled environment, especially on the first day of spring when it snows like it is today or like it did earlier this morning. Lauren, let's take a little bit of a walk and show off some of the food. You guys say that you're a tech-infused indoor miniature golf place with amazing food and drinks. So we're going to see some of the food and drinks out here right now. What are we looking at?
So we really consider ourselves the triple threat, being the game and our food and beverage experience, as well as just the vibe that we have here. It's a whole package. So here we have our pepperoni buzz flatbread.
It smells so good.
So that's amazing. It's got hot honey on it. What's not to love? Then we've got our Korean bao bun barbecues. Those are really good, and we can make them vegan as well, which is really awesome if we do jackfruit instead.
Okay.
And then we've got our Chicago tailpipes. So the really awesome thing about our tailpipes, aside from the fact that there are play on an Italian hot, is that $1 of each one of them goes to our charity, which is Loaves and Fishes.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, so people can come in here. There's also an event space right there that they could potentially rent out. But you can also come here, I guess, a little bit later at night, and it turns into more of a party for young adults and adults, right?
Correct, yes. We're 21 and up after 8 p.m.
Okay.
We're really for everybody during the day, and then at night it really turns into a party.
I love it. How competitive does it get in here with the miniature golf?
Oh, it gets pretty crazy, but don't have to break up too many things.
Yeah, right, okay. Sounds good. Well, Lauren, thank you so much for your time this morning. We're out here at Putt Shack at Oak Brook Center. Of course, they're going to be open all spring break, anytime for you, really. What time do you guys open in the morning?
So we open at 11 a.m.
Okay, 11
on the weekdays and 10 a.m. on weekends. We're really great for spring break. break.
Great for spring break. Okay, Dana and Audrina, might have to dive into one of these things. We'll see which one. Back to you.
Take the calories for us, Jackie. We're actually really hungry.
Well, could you bring some
I
back
will,
for me?
I will.
I'm just kidding.
Always.
Don't do that. That's all right. You don't have to bring any back.
We're always begging.
Yeah, right. That's okay. I won't. I know.
All right, speaking of spring break, kind of spring equinox coming, one of the biggest moments for photographers in the area. I mean, amateur photographers too. We like to pull out our phone and try to catch the Chicago hinge when the sun rises and sets perfectly between Chicago's building on our east-facing streets.
The best time to view it is, well, it was just after sunrise, but we didn't have much of one today. And also before sunset. And look, it's sunny outside, so you should be able to catch it then. Tomorrow, today, Saturday, if you miss it, you'll have to wait until September for the autumn equinox.
You see that video of all those people? Like, is that still a thing? Like that amount?
It depends. I mean, like sometimes
like the weather's really nice.
I mean, it's really beautiful.
Yeah,
Laura, it's really great to see
love
them.
it. I think it's cool when you're just like cruising and walking, but I don't know, the big crowd thing.
It's because if you don't take a picture of it, then in this world it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So they're like, let me try and catch it.
Like I was there for the Chicago.
Which all you see on our phone just like light.
I know, right?
I am from the era of if you don't take a picture of it, it really did happen.
Because you get to actually enjoy it in the
yes,
moment.
and like burn it into your brain. Yes.
We need to like rub off on each other.
Yeah, maybe a little
bit of this,
little
bit
give
of
and
that,
take in that whole picture taking thing.
We need to take. We need to take. We're listening.
Right back at you. Right back at you, ladies. All right, we digress again, as we often do at this time at 9:46-ish.
Yeah, like 9:43 is when it starts going. Phew. We're trying, guys. All right, let's go into it. We have some sunshine right now. We're gonna have clear skies going into this evening. Stop. I will laugh.
I know. I'm sorry, Laura.
That's all right. Temperatures will going up to the 40s. It's brisk, blustery right now. We still have those gusty winds in place. Some wind chills have made it down to the teens and 20s. We've got the sunshine, though, to help guide the way. Tomorrow, 50s, windy and milder. And then by the end of the weekend, we've got another shot for rain, mostly on Sunday. That may carry over into Monday. We may get a bit of a messy mix with some rain and snow. All right, so right now we're stacking right around freezing. Not a huge spread in the temperature department. O'Hare's at 32, also Midway 32, Valparaiso 33, Waukegan. Wind chills anywhere from 17, Aurora 23, Waukegan, and 19 Midway. There's our morning snow. That is well off toward the east now. Skies have cleared, and we're for a sunny setup for the rest of the day and into tonight. We'll gather some more clouds in the late day tomorrow, but the big focus is going to be the shift in our temperatures. We're going from the 40s today, 50s tomorrow, but as a front comes through, that's going to spark a couple of showers in the late day, mostly after dark. Here's midnight on Saturday. A few showers moving across Chicago, moving into Indiana, and then clearing out. So an overnight rain chance. Saturday's a dry day before we see some wet weather coming back on Sunday. 41 here today. Breezy conditions. Tonight, those winds relax. We go down to 30 degrees, but it will turn fairly breezy to windy for tomorrow. 57 for a high with that late day shower chance. 7-day forecast. We're dry on Saturday, but a notable drop in temperatures after tomorrow's high of 57. We go to 43 degrees for the start of the weekend. Back to the 50s on Sunday with a decent chance for wet weather developing in the morning hours. Morning rain and snow for Monday, 45 degrees. And then we hold steady in the middle upper 40s and 50s by next Wednesday.
All right, nice, Laura, thanks. Here's a look at your travel times outside. I think we're getting better. We're getting better here. Earlier, there was just red all over this, but right now, just over an hour to get to downtown on the inbound Kennedy. I guess it is bad if you're stuck in that traffic. An hour on the inbound Eisenhower as well.
Well, the Cubs are coming home winless after losing 2 games to the LA Dodgers in the season opening series in Japan. The trip was full of team bonding and priceless memories, though. After a few more spring training games in Arizona, the Cubs will resume the regular season next Thursday night against the Arizona Diamondbacks in Phoenix. And hang in there, everyone. The home opener is Friday, April 4th at Wrigley Field against the San Diego Padres.
And the White Sox showing off what's new in the food department. Concession partners Delaware North and Levy Restaurants gave us the highlights to try next time you catch a Sox game. They include new Korean food like hot dogs on a stick that can be dipped in cornflakes or Cheetos, as well as a new spin on the popular campfire shake.
We always try to raise the bar every single year. We look at ideas from other ballparks, from other venues, from other entertainment facilities, state fairs, whatever it might be, always looking to raise the bar on ourselves on what those food and beverage items may be.
Now the White Sox start their season next Thursday with the Los Angeles Angels visiting. Well, the women's track team at Elmhurst University celebrating a conference championship.
It's something the program has never done before. Our Matt Zahn has the story.
The emotion on the faces of Coach Jordan Bartolozzi and the Elmhurst University athletes says it all.
It was awesome. Felt like 8 years in the making, really.
And the energy at that meet was unbelievable. I mean, people were just cheering for us. We were all running around to different events, like cheering everyone on. It was really great. You know, coming from, I've been here since I was a freshman, and so my freshman year we actually lost by 3 points, and so finally being able to get that win, it was great.
The Blue Jays women's track and field team captured their first ever conference championship at the CCIW indoor meet at Carthage University. For head coach Jordan Bartolozzi, a former Blue Jays athlete himself, it felt like an almost full circle moment.
My first year ever coaching, we were up there for the indoor meet. We had one individual who scored 1 point. And so just really fun to see how much progress we've made in those 8 years. To go from literally the bottom of the conference to now in the same place, come out on top was pretty special.
Leading the Blue Jays barrage was Alyssa Busker. The grad transfer was historically good en route to 2 individual event wins along with a relay title. In the 55-meter final, Busker won with the 5th fastest time in Division III history. And she followed it up with another dominating victory, finishing the 200-meter race in 24.31 seconds, the 8th best mark ever in Division III.
That 200 final on Saturday is the best race I've ever seen in person. To kind of give context, that 24.3 on that track, which tight turns, not a place you think fast 200 times. So the fact that she went out and won by almost a half a second in a 200, just remarkable.
What does that mean when you hear your coach say something like that?
I mean, that's really cool. It definitely was a really good race. I was just thinking, like, just run as hard as you can, just finish.
Having Alyssa be a part of this team is something Coach Bartolozzi has been wanting for a while, going all the way back to when Alyssa was in high school running for Aurora Christian.
We wanted her as a freshman, and she loved Elmhurst, ended up going to Trinity Christian College, NAIA program, and she had a great 4-year career there.
I was deciding to go to Elmhurst for graduate school, so then after I got accepted, I emailed him and I was like, hey, would you be willing to let me run my last year?
I ran down the hallway about this time a year ago to tell our sprint coach Tyler, you won't believe who just emailed me, and it was Alyssa, and asked if we would let her use her final year of eligibility. So that was one of the easiest yeses I've ever said.
And the rest, as they say, is history for both Alyssa and the Blue Jays. In Elmhurst, Matt Zahn, CBS News Chicago.
Matt, thanks so much. Well, we are back with a look at your top stories, including the latest on that shooting investigation we've been talking about in Chicago's Pullman neighborhood. So we'll see you after the break.
Welcome back, everyone. Here's a look at the stories that we are keeping an eye on today.
And we are working to figure out if Chicago police used their weapons in this shooting this morning in the Pullman neighborhood. Here's a look at the scene where one man was seriously wounded, shot 7 times in this area right off the Bishop Ford and 100th Street. This shooting right now under investigation by the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, or COPA.
Sentencing for former Illinois House Speaker Mike Madigan is now scheduled for June. He was convicted in February on 10 counts of federal corruption. Prosecutors and defense attorneys agreed to accept the partial verdict in the case following more than 60 hours of jury deliberations.
An elementary school in Gary closed this morning after losing part of its roof from the storms last night. Several people were inside. Thankfully, no one was hurt. School district officials say right now they're waiting to see if they could potentially bring students back after next week's spring break, but this is a lot of repairs to make there at the school. It just shows how bad that damage was across the area.
Awful storms last night, and then we had the snow this morning. We do get a break from storms over the next 7 days. Snow, we may see a little again for Monday. Temperature-wise, ups and downs. Nice weather for your Friday, a high of 57.
Oh, 57 sounds so nice right about now, doesn't it?
Yeah. We've just been all over the place.
Yep, but that's what happens in March.
Yeah, throw it at us. We can take it.
That's right. Thanks for joining us here on the News at 9. Your local news continues right here on the stream.
Yep, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow morning on Friday.